Our favorite games of April 2023.
Thank you for joining us here at Tantrum House. I'm Kevin.
I'm Melissa.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Psychic Larry.
Today we are doing our favorite games of April 2023.
Yep.
So these are games that we have played, gotten to the table that are probably newer games. Some of them might have been out for a little while or may not have been available or things like that. But we were able to play them, and we wanted to share with you our favorites. So who's starting off?
You should start off, Kevin.
So, I'm going to start off with a game that I didn't know was going to be my favorite. Because sometimes I really want to play that game.
Yep.
This one kind of appeared out of nowhere.
Yes, this is Mother of Frankenstein, Volume 1 from Hatch Escapes, but also is being distributed by Arcane Wonders. That's who we got it from. There's actually 3 volumes to this. This is a narrative, puzzly, escape room style game, but more heavy on the narrative, a little less heavy on the puzzle, although the puzzles are very challenging, I should say. There's different ones that are challenging, some more than others. They have 3 volumes. This is Volume 1, I would say. I have liked Volume 1 the best so far. We have played Volumes 1, 2, and 3. We're actually finishing up Volume 3, hopefully today.
Hopefully
today we'll finish up Volume 3. But just big idea is this is set in the Frankenstein world.
Well, it's Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein.
Who's the mother.
It's about her and her life, but it does have some of those macabre, unrealistic things mixed in with it.
Yeah, so the Volume 1, it's divided into like 3 acts, sort of. There's a scenario where you're dealing with music, and then there's dealing with poems and letters, and you're sort of doing each of those separately. I mean, you're doing
astronomy was one of them.
Astronomy was one. That's right. And then you're all working together to figure out how these all work together to figure out the answer to the puzzle. Volume 2 is mainly a jigsaw puzzle with some journal entries that you have. Another sort of puzzly thing that you work on. I did like the journal on there, and the puzzle was pretty fun.
The puzzle was amazing. I love puzzles when they give you very unique shapes in the jigsaw puzzle, and these are some of the most unique shapes. It was in a oval circle, which made it just it was amazing.
It was like, how do these even go together? Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was so good.
Yep. And then Volume 3 is mainly a 3D puzzle where they're actually foam puzzle pieces that actually you're building. We'll just spoil it here. You're building Castle Frankenstein. That's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
You actually see it on the back of the box.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, but like Kevin was saying, at least most of them have 3, I would say, modules, and they say to do them at different times, because each of those is probably going to be at least an hour.
Yeah.
And then you use what you've learned in those 3 to then complete a final puzzle, which wins that box, that volume.
And the 3 sort of modules or acts that we're talking about, I would say the Volume 1, all 3 of them, plus the final, just all sort of fit together. The astronomy, the music, and the poetry, they all seemed to be really, I just enjoyed that much more than Volume 2 and Volume 3. Although, they've all been enjoyable, but if I had to pick just one, I would say try Volume 1 out. 1 hour, I would say you want to keep for each of those modules. And what we haven't talked about is you're all sort of, in some escape rooms, you can sort of
break and do different things.
You can you work on that puzzle and I'll work on this puzzle sort of thing? Not in this one. You really do need to sort of all work together. And the main reason is because of that narrative story. You're sort of, it's taking you on a journey, and you want to be immersed on that as a group so that you are being able to figure that out together.
Yeah. Kevin and I and Hannah and Charlie, we went on a cruise, and we had a 7-hour layover at an airport. Chicago. And we had this with us, and so we did a couple of the modules in the airport.
Yeah,
yes,
so-
there were people kind of looking at us oddly as we have star charts and poems and all these things spread on the
I would
table.
say the astronomy one, we definitely got a lot of looks because we're like drawing lines and stars and all this kind of stuff. And there's rings on one of them. You're sort of like moving the rings or building the rings and moving them around to align them properly. What we did was we sort of did a scenario, and then we sort of walked around, got some steps, and then we did another scenario. So we did like 2 or 3, during that time.
Yeah.
But it was a nice, enjoyable time. It was a good little memory. So
Are the volumes continuous? Like you need to play them in order?
You
are they
are
separate?
supposed to play them in order.
yeah, I would say you could do Volume 3 by itself, but you would be missing a whole lot of stuff.
Background
Background
story.
Yeah, I don't. Well, we haven't completed 3 yet, but we haven't needed any components from 1.
So they are independent, but
They are
you should do them in
independent,
yes.
order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you want the whole story narrative part, which is the fun.
But
of
if you
this
just
game.
want to build a 3D puzzle, you can just buy Volume 3.
Correct.
To build it. It is pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that is my pick for April. Mother of Frankenstein.
All right, when I grab mine.
Is this yours, Melissa?
Yes. So my favorite game, new to me, that I played in April is Marrakesh, and I know it's been out for a little while, at least in various forms. There's a couple different versions of it now. This is Larry's copy that he got for his birthday, right?
Yeah.
And I believe we're going to have a viewpoints out on this very soon.
Actually, probably the
for
viewpoints
Marrakesh.
has already gone live.
So you'll get more views on the game. But I really enjoyed the puzzly nature of it. It's a bit of a point salad. You can do lots of different things. Thinking through which actions you want to take, but then you might be taking different tokens, keshi of different colors, and trying to plan for some of those semi-random things like, oh, I'm taking the purple action, but I think I actually want to take the blue keshi to help with that area and make that more powerful.
I do
What's
like
interesting.
that part of the game where your keshis are getting more powerful, or your spots are getting more powerful based on the color keshis going into those spots. That is an enjoyable part of the game for me.
Yeah, it looks a little overwhelming on the table because there's a lot of components. There are
Sure.
boards. You have a board. There's a main board.
There's 11 sections on your player board of different components.
That
Wow.
work different ways, but some of them are very similar. So
Yeah.
you're like, okay, if you know how this one works, this one, like the 2 tracks, the white track and black track. Okay, you know how one works, then you know how the other one works.
Most of them are very simple. Like you said, it just looks
I see.
kind of crazy when
Yeah.
you first look at it, but once you
Visually
Explain it.
overwhelming, but simple in that, all I'm doing is I'm choosing my actions and I'm taking keshi. Now, this box is pretty big.
it's huge.
Now, did we play with most of the modules when we played the other day, or are there other things that we...
This box comes with 5 mini expansions that are in them.
Okay.
So there are different, I think they added some different exchange tokens when you're down using the purple, yellow, and orange.
For the trading thing?
Yeah, for the trading. There's some different ones of those. There's a different thing with the white and black tracks.
Okay.
There's a Sultan in there. And then there's 3 other ones. I forget what they are.
Because this is the city collection.
Yeah. So it has some upgraded components. The only things that I can think of, I don't have the gates that are the wooden gates.
You have the cardboard gates.
Yeah, it's
which
the
are
cardboard
fine.
gates. And we don't have the wooden boats.
So
I
there's
think there's some
a
boats
like a
for the
deluxe
river.
version, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
probably from the Kickstarter. This version, and I think now there's an essential version, which is
Yeah, there's
more
like
of your
basic.
square box. And I think Jonah has played that one, and he was
Yeah.
saying that there are some
Yeah, it's
visual
mostly-
differences
yeah.
between the 2 games.
Mostly cardboard and a little bit smaller. So, yeah, there's a bunch of different versions. But yeah, I like this game too.
Yeah.
But I played it before April, so
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really enjoyable. I've actually only played it the one time, but even though I didn't win because I was playing against people who
I played
had
before.
played
You
before.
do better your second time playing.
Yeah,
But your third time, I'm kidding.
it took a few turns for like the things to click, but I didn't feel overwhelmed at all. I felt like it made sense.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable. There was something to do each turn, and sometimes you're like, oh, I should have saved that action because now I wish I could do it later.
The order of your actions end up being really important.
And then someone takes something that you were planning to get right before you, and then you have to readjust what you're doing in your game. But Marrakesh, Steffenfeld, Queen Games, very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to playing it again.
Keeping with the
keep
big box
that right
theme,
there.
Hannah
Absolutely.
decided to.
So my favorite new to me game this month was Village, the big box edition. Now I can't remember, did we play with any of the expansions when we played?
When we played.
So this is a game that Charlie got to play with some friends years ago, and he has raved about it for years.
Yeah, I remember.
And I have never gotten to play it, and I finally got to play it, and now I realize why he loves it so much, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's a heavy worker placement game where you are playing as multi-generations of your family, and as time marches on, you may have to kill some of your older generational family members.
They just died.
Which is
They just wither away.
Yes, they go to sleep, and depending on where that happens, where you take them from, they go into the Book of Lore, which is the history of the village, or which is really really good. You get all the points. Or if those spaces are full and we don't have any more room to add history to our tome, then they just go into the cemetery for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
The Paupers Cemetery, unknown, unrecognized.
So what's really fun about this is you pull out cubes, and that's how many actions you have at different spaces, and it's all very different. You can go send your family member on a walkabout kind of thing where you're going from village to village collecting things, but there's only 2 people can go on that at any one time, and Melissa and I dominated by using that space routinely. There's a market, but there's lots of actions there. You can collect goods in different spaces, but you have to be careful of those black cubes because that brings plague, and we don't want plague in your family. But it's a really fun kind of medium weight worker placement where there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different strategies. I never felt stuck even if I had to pivot halfway through the game. The board looks pretty, and it's just kind of a fun, unique thing to kill off family members.
And
Like it's not a common theme in a game.
yeah, we plan to play a couple of the expansions, and then eventually we'll put out a video about the big box version specifically.
The big box comes with the base game and then 3 different modules, and you can combine all that together, or you can play them separately with the base game. The marriage one, the port one, I don't remember what the bottom left one, it actually shows you the different modules that are in the big box, and it sort of reminds me art style like of Queenbra a little bit. I'm not sure if it's the same illustrator or not, but even the boards and the character design looks like that as well. So if you're familiar with that game, that's sort of the feel that I have.
If worker placement is your thing, that's your favorite kind of game, definitely check out Village.
Cool. Thanks, Hannah.
The big box.
All right, Larry.
My favorite game of April was a new one I just got for my birthday, The Lord of the Rings.
For your
Happy
what?
birthday!
The card game.
For your birthday?
Yeah.
Did you have 2 birthdays?
No. I got this one at the party.
Oh!
Marrakesh just was a bigger game than this one.
That's fair.
But this is the reprinting or the repackaging of the original game, The Lord of the Rings, the card game. It's the LCG by Fantasy Flight. Obviously, this is a very old game right now, technically. But this is the new version that I just got, which I really like. I like the theme, the Lord of the Rings theme, and it is a good card game. It's co-op. You can play with 1 to 4 players.
Wow.
Basically, you're going to have 3 heroes that are on your team, and then you have a bunch of different allies and a bunch of different event cards. You kind of build your own deck. It's one of those games where you can put together all kinds of different cards that you want. I just went with some of the pre-built decks that were already in here. but you can build your deck however you want if you like that kind of deck building challenge. This one is a little bit, you play through scenarios. So there's going to be a different challenge or a different kind of, there's 3 locations. So you're going to 3 different locations and trying to complete whatever the goal is there. It comes with, I think it was 3 or 4 different scenario type things. So that's one of the things that's kind of, I think, a negative for me, in that once you play through all the scenarios, it's the replayability might get less. Obviously, you can go back with different characters or different heroes and play different decks, which you can change up. But if there was a different mode where you could just play without having to have the actual campaign, they do have a bunch of different expansions. There's a ton of them. You can get the original printings of these if you can find them. But they also have 2 other big box reprintings where they repackage some of the smaller expansions all into these boxes, and there's 2 other ones right now. I forget what they were called. So they're on my wish list on Amazon.
So does it feel thematic? Do you feel like you're in the world of Lord of the Rings and the characters?
Yeah. You go through, they all have different abilities, and they have different strengths and kind of like where their proficiency is. Cool. I love the artwork on them, and it's one of those, it's the card game like Magic the Gathering, where you have like your player, you have like their stats, and then you have like specific abilities on the bottom. So it's that type of game, but with the Lord of the Rings, which is so much better.
Just plain Magic?
Yeah. Don't hate me, Magic people.
Well, that's... Anything else?
But that was it. That was my game for April.
Well, that wraps up our favorite games of April 2023. We'd love to have you comment in the comment section about games that you've really enjoyed playing in April. It helps us to know more about what you all like.
And what you think of the games we chose. Have you played them, or any of them on your list of favorites, or maybe
Hates.
not favorites?
Yeah, there you go, not favorites.
Please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.